Hi. So, in the hypothesis, what I'm talking about is a money free world. Why? Isn't it fun to think out of the box a little bit and discuss topics outside of the usual? All the podcasts, all the books, all the YouTube channels, everyone talks about war and new technologies and stuff, which are all amazing topics to talk about. But do we solve any problems? Well, in my hypothesis, I'm dreaming. There is no way people can handle such a system, a topic, without being sarcastic, without attacking it, without taking a piss on it, as our Brit says. So bear with me in this hypothesis. This document is a living document. I'm working through my own emotions and thoughts at the same time because to understand the reason why money became an evil tool, I had to understand people's emotions. And for me, I'm an observer, a reflector. I observe and reflect, and see how everything connects with each other. And there is an old saying, I don't know who said it, but he was a wise man. All the systems in the world did not account for one thing. Could have all been great, but didn't account for one thing: human greed, which I agree with. So any systems that exist today, like capitalism, socialism, and communism, the major three big ones, did not account for the greed. And that's the topic I focus on here in this hypothesis is money and greed and the link between them, because humanity showed, with or without money, they're not all of them, but they are a greedy bunch. They want to be more. Greed in knowledge is amazing. Greed in material things become toxic. And then there's a whole dialogue around how do we get rid of the sin of greed, which is a simple answer to me, is only address what you need, not anyone else's need. For example, I'd address my need of having a laptop bag, but I will not address the need of society of me carrying a brand laptop bag in order to be accepted and looked at. And that's the difference between getting what we want to serve a purpose and getting what we need to fulfill something missing and getting something to fulfill everyone else. What I'm about to embark on in this theory, because I feel it will become a theory, it is applicable. We can make it happen. We can make a money-free world without the influence of religions and existing systems we have manifested in this life we live in. What I believe is something will come out of this hypothesis. In my mind, two things majorly. One is a continuous work on it in order to create a theory that maybe in our generations to come, 100 years from now, can pick up and talk about and plan to implement. The second thing is, since we know it will not happen now, what we can get out of it in order to reshape the society and how to make the society start start the thought process of how we serve each other and provide for each other without the need of material exchange at emotional, mental, and materialistic levels. And I know what's the difference between this and charity? Well, charity is demeaning, absolutely demeaning to most people. And charity is like a bandit on a huge cut wound. It fulfills one moment, but doesn't really sustain the living of the people who needs the material things in order to survive. That's it. Plus, for me, dealing with charities before, understanding how they worked, half of the stuff they give away is a fraction of what actually given to them by people who are good-hearted and wanted to contribute. I'm not undermining the charities and the nationwide unions that does everything but solve the actual real problem, which is government corruptions, greed, money, power. If we tackle greed, and that cannot be tackled at an old age, unfortunately, it becomes a very embedded program in a human psyche to want more. Second, money. We cannot live without because you can't breathe in areas like where I live in the middle of the summer without paying the bills for a sea to work. And third, power. The use of money in order to manipulate everything from education to health sectors to pandemics to wars to mining platinum, gold, and all the commodities in between, and building tall buildings and doing whatever. I see when I talk about the three pillars of dwindling world we live in. Money provided that easy, targeted manifestation of evil. So in my hypothesis, what I do is take the money out of the equation and say it's free. We don't have to pay bills. We don't have to pay for education. Everyone gets healthcare. Everyone have a house. Everyone have the basic needs available to them. We remove the nuclear bomb, as I refer to it there, and see what happens. In my thought process, what I'm thinking about is taking the money out of the equation can do a lot of harm too. So in order to theorize this, and it's something like I think like million steps ahead. What if we do it in virtual reality, for example, and see what happens then? Like what happens if we take that out of the equation? What will happen? What are the parameters we will feed there? We keep society as is, people with the same intentions, same psychic, same psyche, I mean, or psychics too, same everything. And what will be the impact on people if they say, oh my God, okay, I was supposed to kidnap this woman in order to sell her for white slavery for money, and now what do I do? I'm supposed to harness all this opium water field and prepare products and sell it in order to get money and get people high. Now what do I do? I'm supposed to sell all this food in order to gain a lot of money and kill all these animals in order to make a lot of money. Now, what do I do? And if people start thinking that way, if money is not a reason for them to exist, which sadly, the true nature of humanity today, of course, there are levels, there are from survival to full luxury and no worry about money. If I remove that, if I remove money out of the equation, what's the impact on each of them? Would people wake up to who they are here to do, who they are here to become and build? Maybe, maybe not. Who knows? But I think it's a maybe. So for me, when I spoke to myself, I don't share much with the outer world. I spoke with myself and decided, okay, let me put a document together. Throughout the document and throughout what I'm doing, I want to create a manifestation of a world with no money, how it would look like, what would change from the reality we live in now, what are the steps that will need to be taken, what entities will get involved in order to make this worldwide, a global. We cannot implement this on a community or a country level because the country still needs to survive among the rest. So it has to be a big bang. And that's interesting because God created everything in a big bang. So how would we create that big bang? I'm thinking education, of course, is part of it. Preparing generations to come to understand the value of themselves outside of money. What do they provide? What do they get? What do they collaborate on? What do they see their talents are and where to implement them without the worrying about having a job that they hate to pay bills, to support family, to do all the ish stuff we do these days. So it's a blessing that I received this idea from my divine. And I'm willing to take it further with those who would like to join me in time, since I'm still working alone. I'm building the team as I go. I'm worried that it will impact my actual business plan that I'm building and dealing with at the moment. I'd love to consider one or two people who would bounce ideas with me and have a thought process, my thoughts processed with them, and key elements of the hypothesis is established there, but what are the data that we can support it? Although I hate data gathering statistics, I mean, but it's what people can read. I can't see it without any numbers, but it's important. Typical with any research you do. I'm looking forward to finding a couple of geniuses who has a whole lot of wide spectrum about what happens in the world. With all due respect to people who are very specific in certain fields, which I'll need as well, like economists, for example. I need someone who see the big picture, see the links between everything we deal with in this hypothesis. So yeah, once you realize you're part of this, and once you want to be a part of this, shoot me an email. My link in the document. And let's see what happens. And I'm happy to be here with you guys, and I'm happy that this video reached someone to at least open the idea. I'm very special in a way dealing with this idea. So I may be dark sometimes with the laughter. And you understand that we need to laugh during this period of human existence. Anyway, that will be all. And hopefully you got something out of this.